Danielson. I'm at the Mount Evans Hillclimb, and this is one of my favorite events because it's all uphill. It's at high altitude, and it's in Colorado, favorite state in the U.S. and probably my favorite place in the world. So I had a lot of fun today. I attempted to go fast for my record, and I came up with a strategy, but it wasn't really the correct strategy. But you have to try, and my fitness is probably better than it was in '04, and I had a lot of confidence and good legs. But the way to break the race down is it's very important to analyze it from sort of an oxygen perspective as well as a climbing perspective. And a lot of us don't really look at that whole factor of the altitude as much as we should. And also the percent gradient is a big factor as well. It's not a very steep climb, it's very gradual. The speed is quite high, drafting and things like that are important. So my strategy this year was basically to try to keep my speed as high as I could and ride a really steady race. And I noticed Scott Moniger had really good legs today, so I thought, well, I really like Scott. I did a year on Mercury with him. I have a lot of respect for him. He's still winning big races. He should have won Redlands this year. He's still winning big races. So I thought, well, it would be cool. This is one of his favorite races. Maybe we'll ride together. And so I didn't do any surges. I just kept the pace steady, and thought, maybe I can, go for my record. Maybe in some of the flatter spots near the top, he could help pull a little bit, and both of us get a really good time. Worked out pretty good. He sat on the wheel for whatever, most of the race. But I think that in hindsight, now that I look back at it, the most important place to go fast is basically between mile 6 and mile 13 or mile 15, because you're between basically 7,000 or 8,000 feet and 10,000 feet, and you have quite a bit more oxygen. It's a little bit steeper of a climb there, and if you can really make a big effort, you can take quite a bit of time out of the overall time. When you get to the top, when the altitude is so high, and there's a lot of wind up top, it's not really possible to go much faster than you're really one speed. You're running on no oxygen, your muscle recruitment is so low. You just can't go any faster. And my goal was to ride steady and pick it up towards the end. And when I went to pick it up towards the end, I didn't have any oxygen, couldn't use any of my muscles, and had to ride the same speed. So I was about a minute 40 short of my record. And in hindsight, I should have taken that minute 40 between mile 6 and 13. So I'm happy. My legs are great. I was watching my power meter. It was very, very high. So, if I hadn't done the record in '04, I would have still broken the record today of, I think it's 145 or something like that. That stood for like 9 years or something. So it's still a very fantastic ride. But it is kind of exciting to look back and see it's not just simply a hill climb. It's not simply go as fast as you can. You really need to be strategic about it, and it's not, as we saw today, I had guys helping me in the beginning. It's not all done in the beginning, and it's not all done in the end. It's using the right amounts of energy at the appropriate time, and that's how you go as fast as you can.
Cool. How'd you get started into racing, like bike racing in general, and what age?
I got into it around 16 years old, a little bit late, but I lived in Connecticut, which is a state. Now cycling is a bit more popular, but in 96 and 95 was not very popular. So it's kind of an alternative sport. My friend down the street was doing it. I was riding motorcycles, and my parents didn't want me to race, so I thought, mountain bike is pretty close to a dirt bike, and except for use your engine. And it turned out I had a pretty good engine, so I did well in mountain biking and kind of picked that up and just went from there. My career didn't go as smoothly as a lot of people think. I did really well on the mountain bike, and then when I went to college, I kind of lost my focus. There's a lot of different things going on at college. There's people and girls and classes and So I lost my focus for about 5 years while I was doing my school, but I was always riding my bike, and got to my senior year and I thought, wait a second, if I don't make this happen, I'm gonna have to get a real job. So I put the axe to the grindstone and trained as hard as I could, and somehow made it. And what's also cool about this race is the year I made it, I was on the same team as Scott Moniger, and he taught me a lot. I did half a year with Mercury, and he really showed me a lot how to race, and he's a really smart racer. So, when I saw him in the race today, I wasn't going to flick him or anything like that, or try to just race against him. I said, I'm going to go for a good time, and it would be nice for him to have a good time too as well, instead of say, well, if it's more important for me to beat him or drop him early on than work together. No, I saw him there and I thought, this is a cool situation. This guy's given a lot to the sport. This guy is an icon in American cycling, and I was proud to be there with him. So if I could help and he could help me, good race.
So what is your favorite race of all time? No, there's a lot of them, but
yeah, it's hard to say my favorite race of all time. There's all these different races out there. There's Hillclimbs, there's stage races, there's Grand Tours. It's all so different, but I like Grand Tours. I think that it's a really big test of your overall cycling ability, and you have to be a good climber, you have to be good in the peloton, you have to be good recovery, you have to be good mentally strong. You have to. It's a little war that you fight, and every day is a battle. And if you lose one battle, the war is over. So it's kind of an interesting concept where you have to be consistent, but you also have to, if you want to win or if you want to do well, you really have to dig deep and go over that limit and not be afraid to fail. So I really like the Grand Tours. I've only done the Vuelta and the Giro, and I was supposed to do the Tour this year, but I like the Vuelta. So for now, maybe the Tour next year I'll say is my favorite, but for now it's the Vuelta.
Alrighty. And I guess we'll end it with a silly Zabriskie question. What's your favorite, if you could be an animal, what would you be?
Oh man.
That would best describe your personality and the way.
I have no idea. I don't know. What's that?
Like a tiger?
I don't know. It'd take me a while to figure that out. I don't have quite the Zabriskie punch.
No worries.